All right, shalom, y'all. We got a great show for you today. As you can tell by the title, we're talking about how to get to know yourself. And at first glance, it would seem like it's going to be some vague foo-foo show, but on this particular show, we're going to get very granular or granular. We're going to get very granular with this topic, and you're going to see how this thing, knowing who you are and knowing yourself, you're going to see the ramifications it has in your life. It is there's a lot that goes into this, and we're going to really break this down, like I said, to a very basic, digestible, understandable level. So with that said, we're gonna get into this, and we're gonna start it with a Bible verse, and that's Lamentations chapter 3 verse 40. It says, "Let us search and try our ways and turn again to the Lord." Okay? So, and we have some more Bible verses that back that up, but this is a key part of this thing, is really testing your ways, trying your ways. All right. Um, I put it, a lot of people have no idea who they are. They're strangers to their self. They have no idea what drives them. They don't know. They have no idea why they do some things. They have no idea why they don't do things. So literally, people are strangers to themselves. As strange as that might sound, they've never known themselves. They've only kind of existed and function according to their impulses. What I put here, the purpose of this show is to introduce you to you and to show you how to get to know you. These are some of the terms you might hear people say concerning, like you'll hear people say things like being in touch with yourself. Like you'll hear some of those foo-foo, shows like, oh, you got to get in touch with yourself and all this stuff like that. But you're going to see that what we're talking about here is going to be, it's going to be very, again, granular. We're going to break it down to the foundational level. Okay. Some of the other things you might hear people say is, what does it mean to be blind to yourself? Like, these are some of the concepts. What does it mean to be stiff-necked? You stubborn, stiff-necked. This is going to unearth why we see a lot of people, they just wrestle with being stubborn and stiff-necked. And the question to ask is, how are you seeing and hearing things? Are you seeing things through distorted lenses? The stuff that I put in this show here is stuff that I would have told myself if I could go back and visit myself when I was like 22 years old or something like that. This is what I would tell me. Okay. And this is how I wrote it. This is how this was written out. Just things I've went through, things I still deal with, areas I'm still growing in. I wrote here, there are people so locked into their way of seeing things that no matter what is said or done, they are completely incapable of introspection or seeing themselves. And again, the aim of this show is to really break down and define what it means to see yourself, to be introspective. And what you're even looking at. You know what I'm saying? Because this can be saying some of these words. Hey, you need to look at yourself. You need to get to know yourself. Like saying that to some people, particularly me back when I was in my 20s, in my early 20s, it's like literally trying to explain to a fish how to ride a bike. It's literally, you don't even get the concept of what they're even talking about. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, this spiritual blindness that people have to seeing themselves and seeing what they have going on in themselves, it can stem from pride, fear, past hurt, trauma. These are the things that can cause this type of viewing things to just get solidified into someone. And then when you have you'll have hidden strongholds. People are blind to themselves and unaware of these strongholds, hidden strongholds. Discovering hidden strongholds is very uncomfortable. It could be very uncomfortable and difficult. There's a lot of things operating trying to block you from seeing what's going on in you, what's operating in you. Okay? So you have to be prepared for that going into this. So what happens when people are blind to looking inward, they can only see outward. This is a key point to this whole thing. When people are blind to looking inward, they can only see outward. Okay? And what I wrote here, people who lack the ability to look inward and examine themselves can only see externally, and therefore are unable to see their issues, so they project outward and only see external things as the problem, not themselves. So they'll always find a way to put it on other people, places, things, anything else but them. And I mean, like I said, I thinking back my military career, I've wrestled with a lot of this. But deep down, deep in there, I was like, man, something's off. Like this thing keeps happening too often to me for it not to be me. And I had to take that hard, painful look. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote, people who don't know themselves, people who are unable to look at themselves, they are unaware of their contribution to their own problems. And I wrote here, extreme ownership. Everything, this is where I'm at now, okay? In my understanding, with extreme ownership, everything is your fault, the fruit of knowing yourself and how you grow. So when anything happens, it's always my fault. I'm always looking at myself to see, hey, what could I have done? What can I do? And you, through getting to know yourself and getting wisdom, you learn that the quickest way to grow is to look at where your issues are at. I mean, it's the fastest, most efficient, effective way to level up and grow in spiritual development. But we're going to get into that. Okay? So now we're going to start getting into the meat of this thing. Okay? And what we're talking about is the cost of not knowing yourself. Okay? The cost of not knowing yourself. And the cost of not knowing yourself. So we're going to read through some of these things. Okay, and you can this is blanket buckshot style. I'm sure this is going to hit everybody in some way, shape, or form. So the cost of not knowing yourself and who you are, one cost is unhappiness and unfulfillment. If you don't understand your values, interests, and goals, you might end up in careers or relationships that don't resonate with you. This can lead to a sense of emptiness and a lack of direction. So that's one cost of not knowing yourself. Okay? That's one of the costs of not knowing yourself. Let's hit another one. Poor decision making. That's another cost of not knowing yourself. When you're unsure of your strengths, weaknesses, you might make choices that aren't in your best interest. This can lead to missed opportunities, wasted time, and even financial strain. Let's hit another one. Another cost of not knowing yourself. Unsatisfying relationships. If you don't understand your communication style or emotional triggers, you might struggle to build healthy connections with others. This can lead to conflict, misunderstandings, and isolation. Okay? And like I said, I think back again, gotta go back, like things I saw in my military career, and prior, when at the age of 26, one of the realizations I had about not knowing myself is just my track record with women up to that age. I didn't have much success. And come to find out, there was a lot of issues and stuff I had that I had to work through. Another cost of not knowing yourself is low self-esteem. We talked about that in some of the past shows. Not knowing your true self can make it hard to appreciate your strengths and feel confident in your abilities. This can lead to self-doubt, anxiety, difficulty taking risks. Okay? Another cost of not knowing yourself is missed opportunities. When you don't know what you're passionate about or what you're good at, you might miss out on chances to explore new things and develop your potential. Another cost of not knowing yourself is living on autopilot. I see a lot of this. Without self-awareness, you might simply go through the motions of life without actively pursuing your desires or making conscious choices. So you're like, what I talk about is like, you're like a rudderless ship, just going through life, being pushed by the waves and the tides of life, wherever, with no direction. You're just out at sea, floating around wherever. You're not headed over here. You have no destination. And then finally, a big area, again, that I've seen a lot of with people is when it comes to deliverance, dealing with getting spirits and mindsets cast off you. And a lot of people aren't even aware that things are operating in them that they would need deliverance from because they don't know their self. They've never taken the time to get to know themselves. Okay? So that's the cost of not knowing yourself. Let's talk about some of the benefits of getting to know yourself. Increase happiness and fulfillment. By understanding your true self, you can make choices that align with your values and goals, leading to a more fulfilling life. Okay? Instead of walking around in quiet desperation, just silently suffering inside because you don't know yourself. You've never taken the time to examine yourself, okay? How can you know what's operating in you and bring it in alignment with the word when you've never taken the time to actually look at yourself? And like I said, we're going deep. We haven't reached the depth. We're still going to get a lot deeper in this and break this down a lot more. So just stick with me. So let's get another benefit of knowing yourself is making better decisions. Self-awareness allows you to leverage your strengths and address your weaknesses, leading to more informed and impactful choices. So you got a lot of people, they don't want to admit, hey, I got a weakness or anything. They just kind of, because again, they never looked inside. So what they do, they create this fake facade to look like and appear like something, but the reality is they're not it. Another benefit to knowing yourself is building stronger relationships. Knowing yourself enables clear communication and helps you navigate conflicts effectively, fostering strong connections with others. So you know yourself, you know what you'll accept, you know what you won't accept, you know how to assert yourself and draw boundaries. You see what I'm saying? Here's another benefit of knowing yourself is boost self-esteem. Embracing your strengths and weaknesses cultivates self-acceptance and increases your confidence in your abilities. Okay? Because you're aware of your limitations and your capabilities. Here's another benefit of knowing yourself. You're able to embrace new opportunities. Understanding your passions and talents opens doors to explore new things and unlock your full potential. So I can't tell you the number of people I run into, man, and I talk to, and I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you like doing? I don't know. I'm like, what? You got anything you enjoy doing? And it'll be something basic that everybody enjoys doing, you know, but it's really no passion. And it's like, and then you talk to people and you just become realize, yo, this person here just exists. And it's like almost like an impulse slave, a slave to their impulses. And they've never taken the time to think and do what? And get to know themselves. Okay? So let's go to the next one. It says, knowing, another benefit of knowing yourself is you're able to live with intention. Self-awareness allows you to take control of your life, making conscious choices that align with who you truly are. So, again, and we're getting ready to get into this deeper, but you know, you becoming aware of your likes and dislikes and all this stuff, now you can make choices and map out a path that you know is going to work. You're not just blindly going through life and bumping into stuff and making excuses because you bumped into something. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that was there. Instead of saying, hey, my eyes are closed, I need to open them. And not recognizing and acknowledging that. Instead, you're just going to make excuses and fumble around through life aimlessly, you know. So a benefit of knowing yourself is you're able to move through life with intention, with purpose. That's when you hear me say all the time, be in purpose, on purpose. That's what I'm alluding to. So we're going to read a Bible verse. y'all know I read this all the time because this Bible verse talks about and alludes to the fact that you need to be aware of what you're thinking and what's going on in you. And that's 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. It says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So, bringing anything that exalts itself against the word and what's in that word, and against the knowledge of Yah, which is his word, bringing that into captivity. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be aware of what's popping up in your head. You have to be aware of what this word says. And what I found, a lot of people are not aware. In fact, they're completely oblivious and blind to what's going on in their mind, and they just kind of go through the motions on a surface level with their obedience to what it says in the word. In the meantime, all this stuff is operating below the surface that they're totally unaware of, and it's just wreaking havoc in their life and in the lives of people around them. Okay? Let's hit this verse, 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. It says, examine yourself, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates. So again, it's talking about the importance of examining yourself. Otherwise, if you don't, it's saying, and know that that ye be in the faith. If not, you could be a reprobate. Okay? So now we're going to get into the nucleus of this thing, because we're going to break down what it means to really look at yourself. And the first thing you need to understand is it takes honesty and willpower and humility to examine yourself and get to know the true you. Okay? That's what it takes. It's not, and I'm telling you ahead of time, it's not for the faint of heart. But when you have a desire to do something, things like this don't even matter. You're going to just get after it and get it. So what I found, somebody wrote, I saw some articles online where somebody had broke this down of how to get to know yourself and all that stuff, to where it's not sounding all abstract and vague and all that. Break it down. And there's steps to it. First, you have self-awareness, where you become aware that, hey, something's off with you. Then you have a self-exploration, where you're exploring you and what goes on in you, your thoughts and everything. We're gonna break all this down. Then you have self-discovery. Then you get self-understanding, self-transformation, and self-love. You know what I'm saying? And the word tells you to love your brother as you love yourself. But if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love your brother? That's why there's a lot of division, and you see there's a lot of issues with people trying to enter and become a part of true brotherhood or true sisterhood. And you see the people who have truly, they call it what? Dying to self. People who've truly died to self, they don't have these issues. But how can you die to self if you don't know yourself? I mean, you see what I'm saying? So let's get into this. Let's really get granular with this. Self-awareness. Becoming aware of something, or becoming aware that something must change. That's self-awareness. And self-awareness is the ability to observe and understand our own thoughts, feelings, and actions. And I would move to say self-awareness is the ability to observe your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Okay? That is step one, is becoming self-aware. Okay? Self-aware persons are perfectly capable of identifying what they feel. It is considered as a primary driver of introspection. So the primary step of introspection is becoming self-aware. Just even knowing what you're thinking, feeling, the actions you're taking, being aware of what you're doing, and not just being an impulse slave, a slave to your impulses and emotions. If you feel it, you do. You know, you like one step away from an animal now. You know what I'm saying? Again, the definition of introspection is examine one's own thoughts and feelings. That's the definition of that. So now you've become aware of your thoughts and the feelings. You're able to observe them. So then you move to the next step, and that's self-exploration, exploring thoughts, feelings, and emotions. As the name suggests, it is the study and analysis of our inner selves, or our inner thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and ideas. Okay? And listen, y'all are gonna have to watch this video multiple times. You're gonna have to take notes, because I'm telling you, I'm giving y'all a drink with a fire hose on this one. Okay? But that's self-exploration, being able to analyze and study our inner selves, our inner thoughts, beliefs, emotions, ideals, feelings, all that stuff, being able to analyze it. It is important to be aware of our internal processes, which is essential when trying to understand why we function the way we do. The process of self-exploration is rather complex and requires a great deal of introspection, research, and patience. And what you're gonna find, y'all, is when you begin to turn the focus, instead of outward, looking at what other people are doing and getting caught up in that, and you turn the focus inward to looking at yourself and what you got going on, all that effort and anxiety that you were exerting out there, it turns into a pleasurable feeling looking at yourself, because you realize, hey, this is where I need to be focusing using all my skills of observation and all this stuff. I need to focus it this way. And it's not a burden. You begin to desire it. And you become less stressed out, because you're not dealing outside of what they call it, your circle of influence. Like that dude Steve Covey, he had a circle of influence. That's the stuff you could actually influence and affect. And then you got your circle of concern. That's stuff you can't do nothing about. You can't do nothing about other people, but you can do something about yourself. This is book. You know what I'm saying? So it says, the process of self-exploration is rather complex, requires a great deal of introspection, research, and patience. It allows us to explore and understand how we are feeling, and creates the desire to acquire knowledge through a variety of means. So that's self-exploration. So you're exploring these thoughts, you're looking at them, you're like, hey, what's going on there? And okay, I see something going on. Okay, I see the pattern going on there. Okay. And then that takes you to self-discovery. Self-discovery is a simple process of understanding ourselves. Self-exploration is the first step. So that's what we just talked about. Now we're in self-discovery, which enables a person to embark upon self-discovery. People with self-discovery skills have the ability to delve deeper than the superficial facades we create and look into the truths that uphold our beliefs, attitudes, behaviors, feelings, emotions, just the things we do. So the discovery process is realizing, oh, that's why I get mad when that happens, because of this, and this is this. And that's the self-discovery process. Okay? I wrote, it allows us to acquire insight into the reasons of what and how and why we feel and behave in the way that we do. And again, this comes with you're looking at what's going on in you, and you're looking at what the word says, and it's easy to line it up and be like, oh, this is way out of place. This is the part in the discovery process. Okay? So, self-understanding. Self-understanding, also known as self-knowledge, it is our ability to understand what and how and why we do the things we do for the reasons. It is closely linked with self-discovery, and it allows us to formulate logical, coherent understanding of our actions, feelings, thoughts, behaviors, mindset, the things that we're doing. It allows us to try and understand our strengths, weaknesses, beliefs, attitudes, motives, defenses, and actions. So you see, this is a very, like a lot of the time, you'll see people, man, they sit there and they meditate on things that would be in the circle of concern, but not the circle of influence. So they're sitting there focused on something somebody else did, some situation. This was me in the military, just going back and forth with authority and just stressing myself out for stuff that I couldn't affect. But when I finally woke up and realized, hey, I need to work on myself, man, that's when it became stress-free. That's when things started to happen for me quickly. Okay? So the self-understanding is close to so discovery, exploration is realizing, hey, something's over there. I see something, this area going on. I see this mechanism operate. This discovery is kind of discovering how that whole mechanism works. And in the self-understanding, understanding the whole why behind it. And all three of those, exploration, self-discovery, and understanding, is all, closely linked, kind of. Okay? And then self-transformation, bringing your thoughts, feelings, and emotions in alignment with the word of Yahweh, what's in the book. Okay? Only when people are capable of loving themselves despite their numerous flaws are they able to experience what true inner transformation is like. The transitional experience is one of the most profound experiences, one that transcends beyond previous limitations and destructive tendencies. It allows us to experience changes in our lives, allowing us to increase our harmony in this world. So let me tell you this. This transformation process, truth be told, when you begin to shine the light of the word on what you got going on, so you already got the word in you, and then you go through this self exploration, then the discovery process, and then once you understand how that mechanism works, literally the word automatically changes. Like the Most High, the Spirit automatically most of the time will change that just from the light being shined on it. And you come and this self-transformation happens because now you're aware of what's going on. It's like the light of truth has been shined on it. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. And then the final one is self-love. So self-love, compassionate acceptance of yourself. So now you're not making excuses of why, you know, something happened, or you're trying to blame things on other people. You have accepted yourself. You know how you are. You're not running from yourself. Now you know yourself. You understand yourself, and you accept yourself even with your flaws and your issues. And they wrote here, self-love is a result of having self-understanding. This is because one simply cannot love oneself without understanding to accept their strengths and their weaknesses. You can't love something you don't know. Like, you gotta, and like I said early in the show, I can't tell you the number of people I've run into, and they're strangers to themselves, and they're wondering why they have issues going on. They're upset. They got all this stuff going on with them. They're living a life of quiet desperation. They're unfulfilled, and they're just trying to fake it. And it's because they don't know themselves. They're literally a stranger to themselves. So when you reach self-love, now you're at a point where, hey, now you can love your brother. Because it tells you, how can someone who doesn't know themselves love themselves? And how could these people love their brother? And I'm telling you this stuff, what I'm saying, there's a direct correlation with the people, the saints that are just, or people in your life that are just constantly a problem in your life because they don't know who they are and they think everything else is a problem. And like I said, this was me for years. Just blindly feeling around till the Most High began to get me on the path to, get to know myself, get to know Him, and come together with Him. Okay? Like I said, we're getting granular with it. So we're going to keep reading. People who love themselves understand that they, along with everyone else, are imperfect beings. However, they stop criticizing and punishing themselves for these imperfections and embrace them in their entirety. And they also stop criticizing and punishing other people for perceived wrongs and everything. You see what I'm saying? It allows them to accept themselves in every regard. It is the primary source of high self-esteem. Okay? And now we're going to get even deeper into it. We're going to continue breaking it down and get more granular with it. Once you are able to examine yourself, you are able to examine and discern the nuances in other people and arrive at correct conclusions. Okay? All right, let's keep it moving. So, getting to know yourself. We talked about self-exploration, self-discovery, self-understanding, all this stuff. Well, what are the things you're looking for? We're going to go through that. What to get to know about yourself. What you need to be looking for. What you need to be asking yourself. What you need to be looking to be aware of. We're going to just list a couple things. Of course, there's tons of things, but we're going to just list a couple. Your values. What is important to you in life? What principles guide your decisions? This is the word. This is the word of Yah. These are our values. Consider what makes you feel good and what makes you feel bad. What are your deal breakers? And you need to discover this. You need to explore this, discover it, and understand it. Don't try to, oh, no, that's not me, and fight it. See what's operating in you. Okay? Your strengths and weaknesses. This is something else you need to get to learn. I watch a lot of people, they just will not admit that they're weak in an area. They just try to play it off and fake the funk, but they will not admit that they soft in a certain area. So these are some things to explore within yourself. Your strengths and weaknesses. What are you good at? What areas could you improve in? Recognizing your strengths can boost your confidence and help you find fulfilling activities. Understanding your weaknesses can help you find ways to compensate for them or improve them. What's another thing you could search on and explore? Your interests and passions. What do you enjoy doing in your free time? This is something I talked about earlier. These people, I go to them, hey, what do you like doing? What's your favorite free time activity? I don't know. Like deer in headlights look. And why don't they know? Because they never went out and searched. And we live in an age now, literally, you don't even have to go to a library. You don't even got to go anywhere. You literally it's at the tip of your fingers. You just get on the phone and research stuff that's out there in the world, things to do in any area. I mean, it's too vast for me to even say. You just understand what I'm saying. What are you curious about? Your interests can be a great way to relax and de-stress, and they can also lead you to new opportunities and experiences. Your learning style. How do you learn best? Do you prefer to learn by doing, by reading, or by listening? So what's your learning style? Knowing your learning style can help you choose educational methods that are most effective for you. Like I know right off bat, my learning style is hands-on. The way my weakest learning style is oral instruction, like lecturing, like that. That is the worst for me. Reading is pretty good too. I'm pretty middle of the road, but the way I prefer to learn is hands-on. I'd rather take something apart and see how it works, and I can learn that way. You know, I like figuring things out. That's part of my learning style. I like to figure things out on my own. You know, I know other people, they prefer oral instruction. They prefer to be lectured to. Other people like something in their hand that they can read and follow step-by-step instructions. You see what I'm saying? I've done the work. I know myself a little bit. You see what I'm saying? Your personality. So this is another one. This is another area that you can get to know about yourself, is your personality. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Are you more logical or creative? Understanding your personality can help you understand why you behave the way you do and why you interact with others the way you do. You see what I'm saying? So just taking the time, and this isn't a forced activity. It's just learning to begin to see and pay attention to you and not ignore yourself. And I'll tell you, this is a real thing. Okay? All right? What are some other things you could get to know about yourself? There's a big one here, your emotional triggers. What are the things that tend to make you angry, sad, or anxious? Once you know what your triggers are, you can develop strategies for coping with them in a healthy way. Real talk on this one. I had an issue getting anxious, and I'm like, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking, and I'm like, they didn't do anything to me for me to be anxious with them. So what's going on here? And I'm looking, and I'm like, there's no consistent correlation with me feeling anxious in this situation or whatever. And come to find out, it had to do with my nutrition. I was low on certain vitamins and minerals. And once I brought those up, I was back at peace again. And I wasn't experiencing being anxious. But some people don't even realize they're anxious. They lash out. They think it's something in the world. You see what I'm saying? So this thing has ramifications across your whole life. Just being aware of what is going on. Okay? Your communication style. How do you communicate best with others? Are you a good listener? Do you tend to be direct or indirect? Knowing your communication style can help you improve your relationships with others. This is something I'm working on, okay? Your goals and dreams. What do you want to achieve in life? What are your long-term goals? Having goals can give your life direction and purpose. And again, I can't tell you the number of people I run into. They're like rudderless ships in the ocean of life with no direction. And the tides of life just carry them to and fro wherever they might go. Here's another thing you get to know about yourself. Your needs and wants. What are the things that you need to feel happy and fulfilled? What are the things that you want out of life? Knowing your needs and wants can help you make choices that are right for you. See, and a lot of this stuff is very simple for those of us who are obedient to the word and trust Yah's word, because it does a lot of this work for you. Okay? Another thing to get to know about yourself. Your limits. What are your limitations? What are the things that you can't control? Knowing your limits can help you avoid setting yourself up for failure. Okay? So, you have to actually get in a relationship with yourself. And like I said earlier, it's not easy. But if you have a desire to do it, it's not going to be that hard. And one of the things I said, put it here again, that people need to understand, because if you want to know, well, hey, where do I get started with that? What's a big red flag you got going on in your life? What's a big issue that's going on in your life right now? That is the Most High telling you, you need to focus in this area. The obstacle is the way. What stands in the way becomes the way. And the obstacle is the way. So if you want to know the direction to go, where's the obstacle at in your life? In light of what we just studied here, now it becomes clear how to begin the process of self-examination. You see what I'm saying? If anybody wants the slides that I read through here, send me an email. I'm gonna read. Let's see what y'all are saying here. Yep, no trolls, no nothing. People saying there's no trolls there, no nothing. But yeah, if you want these slides of what I just went over here, send me an email. My email's right there on screen, right there in front of you. So this here, what we just went through is something you're going to have to watch this video a bunch of times, and really get, slow it down and think about what's being said. You see what I'm saying? And it's a blanket video. Like, I tried to hold back with putting myself out there because, truth be told, I could go through I'll be dealing with all this stuff. Like, this stuff I've been through, stuff I'm going through, stuff I need to be working on. Just even me putting this lesson together, I got a ton out of it, So, but with that said, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm Michael Israel. You watching Spiritual Combat, and shalom.